Oh wow, it has been an entire month since I uploaded. Ah well, here we go again. Hello my friends, it's me again, your favorite Roblox developer and that tries to make a good game but in this sense became a modder, and we are back at the new video of my devlog about my game Fallen Kingdom. I'm gonna talk about everything I did so in the couple months that I actually did a lot. And well, before we start in the first place, you need to really watch the first and the second video, otherwise you will be pretty confused for what I gotta talk now and the entire thing I scripted. So please just watch it and you will understand it, because this part is the scripting phase and I really want that you understand everything what's gonna happen here. So without further wasting more time in this video, I'm gonna talk about the entire thing what I did. And what did I did? Well, a lot. Pretty much a lot. So to keep everything organized, I'm gonna divide this video in three parts: the items, the debuffs and buffs, and loot spawns and first mechanics, or everything what I did actually. So we start first of all with the items, and we have a bunch of them that ranges from literally potions to food to medical equipment to chests and much more. All items and equipment that will be used throughout your 7-day journey, and pretty important. You might ask, why yummy? Why there are so many items here? Well, pretty obvious questions to those. It's because of a simple thing: buffs and debuffs. Well, you need to firstly also kinda differentiate buffs and debuffs through two things: through effects and short effects. These are two complete separate things. One that lasts for a certain period of time, like a health regen, and something that is just shortly used like a bandage just to patch up a bleeding that won't give you a further buff. Obviously, your players need to differentiate their debuffs and buffs, and now comes the question how many there are. Well, there are 5 positive buffs and 14 debuffs in the entire game. That ranges from a concussion all the way towards arterial bleeding. You can see the game is pretty merciless, what I actually mentioned in the last video, that the game is unforgiving. Before I left you completely confused on what they all do, don't worry, you can literally unlock your mouse and click on the debuffs to see what they are, what they do, and what it's need to fix them. Same applied to buffs, the only difference is there's no way to remove them because it's a buff, which you remove it. So other than that, we can move on to the next thing. And that is how they are applied. Obviously, I didn't script it yet for the player how to receive these buffs because I didn't have the combat system, but the other thing that you also need is to firstly find them, what is pretty simple through our loot spawn system. Simply saying, like in this example, the green one only spawns healing items, the blue one only spawns food items, the white one spawns only potions, and the brown one only crates, when the yellow spawns everything else except the crates, because there's a pretty good reason for that, they're too large. Other than that, you would obviously not see like cubes floating around where the loot spawns is obviously invisible, you need to find it yourself. Another thing that I did is why I separated in the first place, like in this example. You are imagine in a medical tent right here, and the map is a medical tent, you go in, and what would you expect? Obviously potions, healing potions, items like splints, medkits and everything else. Like in this example you see in the beginning of a new day, it spawns in and it stays there. And well, I think you can see more and more why I separated it. It's just to add more detail and more logic, what you would expect in a medical tent. Like in a storage room, you would obviously find crates and that stuff, and I did really my best so it makes logical sense where they spawn. Not like a fucking stone crate spawns in a stupid medical tent for some reason that it's used to treat wounded people. Obviously such sort of thing is completely nonsense for that to spawn in, so yeah, you would expect it somewhere else. Other than, like you saw already, there's food and water that is used to refresh, nourish and hydrate yourself with. Obviously the lower I scripted it so the lower it gets, the more debuffs you get. If it's full, you get buffs. I had a ridiculous, how long does this code again go? 226 lines of code for that to work. But if I'm honest, this is nothing compared to other codes that I wrote and will write in the future and how long they go. Obviously, other than that, we have other things to talk about. Like, I also scripted a beautiful day and night system for the game, so the days actually progress. I scripted it so that the daytime is 7 minutes, and I thought out that the nighttime lasts 3 minutes, with a minute that's devoted to retreat back to your base thing, so you don't like camp outside the base while the wave attack happens. Obviously I have to script the wave attack, but for that I have to script the enemies, what I didn't do yet. Well, yeah. But other than all of this, I did another really important thing and things that are really expected in my game. Actually, before we move on to this, I actually have a small little fun fact to show you. I actually did throughout the time a low health system. Basically what I mean, when you start to get more damage over time, you get this red screen thing, you know, in other games where your screen becomes red when you are low health. And I also added it so that you hear a heartbeat and a little tinnitus sound. Yeah, that you kind of realize that you're hurt and injured and that stuff. And right as you can see here, it gets more bloodier while you take more damage. And I did a little neat thing, what is obviously something that I would expect in a realistic game: ragdoll. Look at him, he looks cute. Death animation will come so he doesn't stand there like a pole.
Man, I'm dead.
And now we're gonna actually move on to the actual map changes and interaction. The first is obviously the bridges. You can now repair them. I'm gonna show you about that. And destroyed village rework. Well, the destroyed village had a pretty good reason to rework. I will comment that later as well. But for now, like you can see here by the destroyed bridge now, if you collect like 2 wooden crates and 2 stone crates that you will find obviously during your loot spawn, you can go up to this bridge. I actually did my efforts so it's actually placed there. Like you see, it's getting placed on the little crate or larger platform, and once it's all 4 placed, the bridge repairs itself, a little sound is gonna play, and voila, the bridge is fully repaired. You can walk on it and it won't get destroyed anytime soon. And then we have the gates that I finally made it so that you can finally turn this funny little wheel to finally open the doors. What actually was for me in the testing phase a complete nuisance, because I had always to jump from the walls down to test, but now you can open this. And also in the defense part, you can also close the gate now. That you're gonna do from the inside, obviously. I have obviously to script that it's getting destroyed and everything, so that was on its own, but I'm gonna do that in another video. Now we're gonna move on to something else. And this is a pretty important rework, and this is for the destroyed village rework. The destroyed village was kinda completely reworked, not really completely, just major parts are reworked. The one great example of what I reworked were the houses in the game, because they looked pretty horrible. Like, really, look at this. The first version had literally no upper windows. There were literally no windows in the upper floor, which makes no sense for a 2-floor building. And another version of it. The same can be said for the smaller ones. I also did more versions, more interior versions that I'm gonna show you now. And oh man, the rework was pretty needed. Other than that, you can now see what I all did. And everything that I did here was made all just to make it look better, really. It was a good improvement. Like, the upper floors have no window, more interiors have been changed. There's a destroyed version for the medium house, I will call it. The small house is also in more versions of it. This is the version 1. They have different interiors, even though they look the same outside, they have different interiors now. This has a destroyed version 1 and a much more destroyed version 2 house of it, the small one. Now there's smoke inside the house, and also there's a little detail, like you can see in the parts where it's burning, you can really see that it's burnt out or burnt. And obviously stepping in it is a pretty stupid option for obvious reasons why you should not step in a fire. It will definitely do nothing, right? Other things that I added in was that the bandits placed now, or what I made, not the bandits, these little like breaking areas, because in the first version it was really empty, but now with these break areas where bandits are hanging around, it's gonna look more full. I think it looks pretty good. Obviously certain questions will come and I will answer in the comment section, and for any dear viewer that managed to watch until the end will get a little bit of bonus content. What I gonna talk right now. Everything I'm gonna talk about here is most partly what I want to do in the future and I'm right now doing. So, and I think considering that it looks pretty good, I'm gonna represent you the first faction, or the first faction cosmetics. It's the bandits, obviously, that I made so that scripted so that it's randomized what they all get. I will come to that right now. Obviously, so not every single bandit is bald. I also made some my custom hair that I also did all by myself, and you will firstly see the first human and non-humans entered in the game, what are currently two, the bee and the butterfly, what will have their own special abilities. I think they look great considering I literally modded their accessory, or how I would call that, but yeah, I am modded all by myself, and from what I can tell right now, the progress is good. However, certain problems arose, like the non-human cosmetics that should be randomized don't work pretty well, I will say, because I can't script everything perfectly, otherwise it goes longer than 981 lines. Except that, I will come to the conclusion of this specific video. However, another little thing I'm gonna tell you, because I'm currently working on it and it's making good progress, I actually expect to release it this year, or the beta version. Obviously not the full product, but the beta. At least something. I hope the progress will keep up like this, so it's gonna get released and I can test it with other people to see if it works. But I tell you one thing, even though I'm one dev, it looks good. It can't be perfect. It is not a AAA game. I can't do that, but at least something. I hope you like and subscribe. It's gonna actually help me throughout this time. And well, other than that, I thank you really much for watching, and yeah, other than that, I actually planned out to really work on the AI, try to make a good group system for the AI so they don't fight like idiots, and I actually think it will also take so much time, but well, no, it's enough. I conclude this video. Bye bye. Hope you have a nice day, and may God be with you.